It's interesting, isn't it, how these companies kind of tiptoe around stuff these days?
Yeah.
All these like sensitive topics, you know. It's like they're whispering instead of talking.
Right.
And we've got a perfect example, I think, with Disney and their casting calls for The Little Mermaid, a musical adventure at Hollywood Studios. Remember how they were like totally open initially about wanting performers of any gender?
Yeah.
For Ariel and Prince Eric, it was all over the internet.
Yes, it definitely caused a lot of discussion.
Well, now it seems like they've kind of backpedaled, scrubbed that language from the casting call.
It is interesting how they've shifted their approach.
So what do you think's going on there?
Well, the original wording was very clear about looking for performers of all genders, even including those who identify differently from their biological sex. Now it's much more vague.
So are they just trying to fly under the radar now?
It's possible.
You know, just quietly keep doing what they were doing, but not draw attention to it?
Could be trying to avoid more controversy. I mean, after all, Disney does have this history of pushing boundaries with casting in other areas.
Like what?
I mean, we've seen those reports
Okay.
of a biological male maybe playing the evil queen at a Disney World restaurant.
Oh, right.
And then there's the whole fairy godmothers in training thing.
Yeah. At the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique.
Right. Men being hired for those roles.
Yeah, those stories definitely got people talking.
They did. And it really highlights the difficult spot companies like Disney are in. I mean, they're trying to balance inclusivity with the potential for backlash.
Especially from families.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, who might hold more traditional values.
Right. So it's like they're walking this tightrope, trying to please everybody.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
And, you know, after the recent election, there's been a lot of talk about Disney trying to, like, calm the noise around all the identity politics stuff.
I think that General Patton was woke. I don't think so. I don't think he was too woke. He was the exact opposite. You know what woke means? It means you're a loser. Everything woke turns to shit.
So this casting call change could be part of that, part of a bigger plan to appeal to, you know, a wider audience.
But is that the right move? I mean, trying to please everybody. It often means you end up pleasing nobody.
Right.
It seems like these companies could really alienate a big chunk of their audience by trying to be too inclusive.
It is a delicate balance, for sure. It makes you wonder, you know, are these companies truly committed to this?
To inclusivity.
Yeah. Or is it more about optics?
Right.
You know, are they just managing how the public sees them?
That's a great point. Seems like there's a lot more to this than meets the eye.
I think so. This whole thing about the casting call, it might actually point to a much larger trend.
What do you mean? Like a trend of companies putting their image ahead of their actual values?
It's possible. And it makes you think, what's the role of social media in all this? How much does the fear of, you know, online backlash actually drive these decisions?
Yeah. Like companies are being held hostage by whoever shouts the loudest online.
It's a powerful image. It really makes you ask, are we getting the whole story? Are these companies getting better at controlling what we see and hear?
Controlling the narrative. It's a little unsettling, isn't it?
It is, and it makes it even more important for us to be, you know, critical about the information we're consuming.
Yeah.
To look beyond just the headlines and ask the hard questions.
Right. To kind of challenge our own assumptions.
Exactly.
Consider different perspectives.
Because these aren't just abstract debates we're having.
Right.
These have real consequences for everyone.
Yeah. It's like we're stuck in this cycle, you know, outrage and reaction, and the company's just trying to, like, stay ahead of the mob.
Yes, and it's really creating this atmosphere of fear.
Yeah.
Where you can barely even have open and honest discussions anymore.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you about. What about the audience in all this?
Right.
I mean, do you think people feel misled when a company like Ligrac says one thing but does something else? When their actions don't really match their values?
I think there is a lot of distrust out there.
Yeah.
People are tired of the hypocrisy.
Right.
You know, companies saying they care about certain values,
Yeah.
but then behind the scenes, they're operating in a totally different way.
And that distrust is even worse when companies are less transparent.
Absolutely. Like what Disney's doing with this casting call.
Yeah.
Trying to hide what they're really up to just leads to more speculation and suspicion.
Right. It makes you wonder if they think we're all stupid.
Right.
Like people can see right through that kind of manipulation.
They can. And in the end, it backfires. because it just erodes trust.
Yeah, makes people less loyal.
Exactly.
So what's the answer here? How can a company navigate all this, these complex issues, without, alienating their audience or compromising their own values?
Well, I think authenticity is key.
Okay.
Being clear about what you stand for, and then actually demonstrating those values in everything you do.
No more saying one thing and doing another.
Exactly. Because ultimately, people want to support companies they believe in, companies whose values align with their own.
And if they aren't careful, they could lose that support.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, in this day and age, your reputation is everything. Once that trust is gone, it's really hard to get it back.
So for our listeners out there, what are some key things they should keep in mind, as they try to make sense of all this corporate communication stuff?
Well, I think it's important to remember things aren't always what they seem. There might be more to the story than what's on the surface. It's up to us to look closer, and ask the tough questions.
Be aware of how companies try to influence us, right? How they spin things. And we have to be more careful about the information we consume.
And remember that we have a voice. We can hold these companies accountable.
That's right. We're not just sitting here watching this happen.
Yeah.
We can do something about it. We can choose who we support.
Exactly.
With our wallets, with our voices.
And by doing that, we can help create a better system.
A more ethical, a more transparent marketplace.
Exactly.
Those are some really insightful points. This whole thing started with a casting call, but it's really about so much more, isn't it?
It is.
Corporate communication, how to deal with sensitive issues.
Absolutely. And it shows how important it is to think critically, to be media literate.
Absolutely, it really has.
Yeah.
Given us all a lot to think about. So as we wrap up, what's the one thing you really hope our listeners take away from this whole discussion?
I think it's so important to remember we have power.
Yeah.
As consumers, more than we realize.
Yeah.
We have a choice in who we support.
Right.
With our money, with our voices. And we can demand more from these brands.
Like transparency.
Yeah. Authenticity.
Right.
Real values.
That's a great point. We're not just, bystanders here.
Yeah.
We can make a difference. We can vote with our wallets, make our voices heard.
Exactly. And by doing that, we can help create a better system, a more ethical, more responsible marketplace.
Well said. Well, this has been really eye-opening.
It has.
Thanks for joining me.
My pleasure.
And to everyone listening, if you found this interesting, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more deep dives into, the stuff that really matters. We're trying to figure this whole world out one conversation at a time. See you next time.